I never imagined I'd be the kind of person to carry a secret this heavy. From the outside, everything about my life looked neatly arranged. A steady marriage, a warm home, the kind of picture people glance at online and assume we had it all figured out. But perfect snapshots often hide the cracks. It began with late nights at the office. I'd tell my husband, James, that deadlines were piling up, projects couldn't wait. The truth was simpler and far more painful. I just didn't want to be home. The silence between us had grown thick, a quiet storm hanging in the air, threatening to break but never quite doing so. Then came Ryan. He was nothing like James, loud, impulsive, someone who made the rules feel irrelevant. We met at a neighborhood barbecue through a mutual friend. And from that very first conversation, it felt strangely familiar, like I had known him forever. Our talks began with harmless texts, then phone calls, then face-to-face meetings. One Friday evening, James sent a message saying he'd be home late. I thought I had hours. Ryan had stopped by, supposedly to drop something off, but the way he leaned against the garage wall made it clear we both knew it wasn't about any delivery. We laughed too easily, too recklessly. Then I slipped, saying his name in a way that carried far more meaning than I intended. The sound echoed in the garage, freezing both of us in place. And then came the knock. Not on the front door. Not on the side entrance. But on the thin garage door, rattling against the frame. My stomach dropped. Through the grimy little window I saw him, James, standing there, eyes locked on me as if he could see straight through. I stumbled back, my throat dry. Ryan's grin vanished, replaced with wide-eyed panic. The unmistakable look of being caught. James didn't speak. He just knocked again, slower this time, each hit sinking into my chest. I opened the side door with trembling hands. James. He lifted a hand, cutting me off. His voice was low, too calm. Save it. That calmness was worse than shouting. Behind me, Ryan mumbled something about needing to leave, but James never glanced his way. His gaze was fixed on me, sharp, unblinking. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't only about what he saw. It was about everything I had already broken, long before tonight. James stepped into the garage without asking. His shoes scraped across the concrete, each step deliberate, as if he was buying time to choose his words. Ryan slipped past him, muttering excuses, but not before James turned his head just enough to give him a look. A silent warning that sent Ryan hurrying to his car. When the door slammed shut, silence rushed in. James didn't look at me right away. Instead, he picked up a wrench from the workbench, turning it over like it was the most fascinating object in the world. Finally, he asked, "How long?" His voice was steady, but beneath it, I heard the crack. I opened my mouth, but the truth was too heavy. "It's not what you think." He gave a humorless laugh and set the wrench down with a metallic clink. "Don't insult me, Claire. You were calling out his name. I think I can figure it out." I wanted to take it back, erase the garage, erase Ryan, rewind time, but there were no words left that could undo it. His eyes met mine. Was it worth it? The question made me flinch. I don't know. The wrong answer. His head shook slowly, his lips pressed tight like he was holding back an ocean of words. I used to believe we could get through anything. Even the nights when you barely looked at me. Even when you checked your phone more than you looked me in the eye. I convinced myself you were just tired, stressed. I didn't want to believe you'd give yourself to someone else. Guilt stung, but defensiveness tangled with it. "You haven't exactly been perfect either," I whispered. His jaw tightened. "Maybe not. But I didn't drag someone else into our marriage." The word marriage sat between us like a blade. I reached for his hand, desperate, but he pulled away. "Don't." His voice cracked, betraying the pain beneath his composure. We stood there in the half-lit garage, knowing the damage hadn't started tonight. It had been building, brick by brick, over months, maybe years. Finally, James turned toward the door. "I need space. I'll come back for my things." Panic surged in my chest. "James, please." But he didn't stop. The door closed behind him, and I was left in the cold, the echo of his knock still pounding in my head. That night, I sat on the couch, staring at the dark television. The house felt different without him. Heavier, emptier, suffocating. Every sound reminded me of his absence. I thought he'd return after cooling down. He always had before. Vanish for a few hours, then come back with weary eyes and a tired, "Let's talk." But morning came and he didn't. Instead, a text appeared on my phone. "Don't call me. I'll send someone for my stuff." My hands shook. My throat tightened. This wasn't a fight. This was an ending, the kind with no maybe. Still I tried. I called. No answer. I drove to his brother's place. He wasn't there. Days blurred together, each one punishment I had written for myself. And then the unexpected message arrived. My sister-in-law. "I heard about the garage. But you should know, James already knew. Weeks ago." The words blurred on my screen. Already knew? I called her immediately. She sounded hesitant, guilty. "He saw your phone weeks back. Messages from Ryan. He didn't say anything. He was hoping you'd stop." Shame and a twisted relief washed over me. He had carried that knowledge silently, all this time. But my sister-in-law wasn't finished. "He's been staying at your mom's place." I froze. My mom's. She hadn't said a word. That night I drove there. She opened the door as though nothing was wrong, but I caught the flicker in her eyes. "He's in the kitchen," she whispered. James looked drained, like he'd run out of fight. "I didn't come here to argue," I said. "I just need you to know. I'm sorry. Not just for what happened in the garage, for everything. For making you feel like you weren't enough, when you were the only one who ever truly saw me." He stared at me for a long time before speaking. "Do you want the truth? I loved you so much I ignored every sign you were slipping away. By the time I stopped pretending, it was already over." Tears threatened, but he didn't move toward me. He didn't offer comfort. Instead he said, "I'm filing next week. This isn't revenge. It's self-respect." The words landed harder than I expected. I didn't argue. I left. Because for once I understood. And maybe that was the real punishment. Not losing him in the garage that night, but realizing I'd lost him long before, in 100 small moments I never saw until it was too late.